If there is a message for us today, I believe it is to learn to live from our heart in love. These short lessons, hopefully, will help to inspire you to live with purpose, love passionately, and inspire others. We are the change agent our world needs. I'm Helen Taves. Step into the river today with me to explore the mysteries of God. They are not hidden from us, but for us to discover. It made our little Hollywood square very small on my computer. So this is cool. Oh boy, I am like way past excited tonight. Way past excited. I was going to say our guest, but she's not really a guest at all because she's a dear friend. She is part of our family. I'll tell you right now. Maybe you can bring us both together and just pin us in a conversation, Kathy. Caroline, thank you for coming on. Thank you so much. I'm going to let you share a little bit, just by introduction of your life, where you're coming from, because I don't want to get any of it backwards, but I do want to share when we met Caroline. Caroline's been with us on the river for a very long time now, years, and we met in person. It was the most exciting meeting in person and falling in love in a second that we've ever experienced. And all of us, Bob and Ed and I from our family, were all there and felt exactly the same way. We wanted to take you home. We thought you were living far too far away because it's like another day to get to you. And we actually, you were such a breath of fresh air and so easy to get to know and just to talk to. Just your transparency, your caring, you're sort of like this instant friend in a package that you could hug without asking, and all those kind of things. And I'm just going to tell the story. I know I wrote it to you, but Bob and Ed and I were talking about the river and some of the great things that are happening and the people that we're getting to know even more and more as the years go on. It is just such a blessing. And Bobby said, "Well, Mom, my girlfriend," like he just missed the name there for a minute. I said, "I know your girlfriend, Caroline, eh?" And because he just wanted to take you home too. It was absolutely lovely. So tonight, I have no idea how to share this, but I'll tell you what. If I was going to say that I was going somewhere, it wouldn't be, I'm going to France now to a silent retreat at a monastery for a month. Like, I wouldn't even know how to put that together, even the thought together. And when Caroline told us what she was going to do, I thought, oh, this is so fabulous. This is an adventure that she's going to take us all on. And tonight, she's going to share that adventure. We've heard little bits and pieces, but we're gonna give the mic to Caroline tonight, and then we're going to come back and ask her the questions that I know are going to come up from her sharing. So, Caroline, welcome. We are so grateful that you're taking this time with us, and just take whatever time, go whatever direction that you would like, and we'll come with questions in a little while. Okay.
Thank you so much. And that's a bit overwhelming, all that you just kindly said. And of course, I don't believe it, but for the moment, I'm going to. And I love you and all of you. You've become a family. Anyway, so I'm Caroline from New Zealand. Anyway, I asked God last year that I want to volunteer somewhere. He must have had slightly other ways, that's in brackets, other thoughts, but he took my thought. And then through a bazaar, which maybe I won't tell it now unless somebody asks later, but it was a bizarre set of circumstances that I met a lady, and there was a whole God set of circumstances, like doors open that never open, and then closed behind me very hard. So that was that. And next thing, I'm going to France, to a monastery in France. I couldn't believe it. It happened so fast. And it was way out of my league. Yeah. Anyway, the monastery is in it's called Bonneau Abbey, and it's near a little town, university town, which is very old, called Poitiers. And you get there by train, and then someone picks you up and you go. And actually at the gate, the Camino walks past the gate, the Camino walk. So if people are on it, they wouldn't see it because it's up a drive. They wouldn't know where they were, but that's where I went. So it's out of the town, and once you're there, you're kind of there. You can't run away. So I do remember I went with a woman, Gillian, that I'd only met once. That's part of the bizarre story. And next minute, I'm doing a month's trip with her. We didn't really know each other. And we finally arrived at this train station in the middle of nowhere. And I heard someone say, Gillian! And I was so out of my head at this whole experience that I was thinking, fancy a friend of mine from Auckland that I've known for half an hour knows someone at the Poitiers station. But it wasn't. It was a beautiful 80-year-old priest who recognised her by a hair and big warm hug. So what you've got to know is I come from a very conservative church. So conservative, you couldn't believe it. And so even 10 years later, we left 10 years ago, I'm still learning how to be out in the big world. And it took long enough to learn to. And as for Catholics, I have no idea about them, except remember we were meant to not like them because they were all bad people. But so I'll keep away from Catholics. Next thing, I'm going to a monastery. And in fact, so many friends said to me, or actually Christians said, are you sure about this? Oh no, it didn't matter how much I said that God is sending me. It was like, yeah, I don't know. So in the end, I rang a pastor that I knew and I said, can I have your blessing on this so I can just tell them? Because they all think I need to be accountable to someone between me and God. So and he said, yes, go. So after that, I had this. That was like my, backing. So anyway, I'm being a bit jumbled at the beginning because the middle part is the best bit. So we arrived there, and it's just, I'll spend 1 minute telling you, it was built in 1100 AD, and it's got a massive history. It's amazing history. And New Zealand is like 175 years old. There's no buildings older than that. And this is 1100 AD. Like every day I was touching the walls and going, I'm touching something that somebody else touched nearly 1,000 years ago, a human. Like I took the whole month I was there, I never got over that. Maggie in London and all that, you'd be used to that, but not me. It was a huge thing. And so what happened was when the whole deal came up, it was this woman, and she said to me, I'm going to Bonvo to learn meditation. And that's when I heard myself saying, I'll go. And it wasn't me speaking. I said those words, and I could not believe I said them. She said, good. She said, I said I wouldn't go until God gave me someone, and you're the one. So I was locked in straight away. So I said to her, well, it's €1,500 a week to go. And I said, oh, I can't afford that. And she said, oh, no, you can go as a volunteer. Well, that was what God hauled me in through. All I want to do is go places and volunteer. Oh, good, I'm volunteering. That's very important for you to know that. So when we got there, I thought the volunteer was arriving. She thought she was going to learn meditation, but that's all right. We were both going. I thought, and I told everyone, I might do a bit of meditation on the side, but I'm really there just going to do cleaning and whatever. So we get there. Well, then we get taken to our rooms, and we got a room. Everyone is like lots of volunteers because they're people from everywhere, and they can't afford to go, so they go as volunteers. So it's mostly volunteers there. And so the whole Bonvo is a Benedictine order, and I've had to learn what that is, and I've got all the info about how orders come about, but that's okay. We won't waste time on that. And so this particular order is meditation and undenominational, which means everybody is Christ. There's no segregation or separation or category. Doesn't matter whether you're atheist or Muslim, or I'm trying to think of what Christians see as extremes here. And so this was a whole new thing to me for a start, whacked me in the face when I came into this. So we got into our rooms, got unpacked, and then had tea. Terrible. It was scary. And then 7:00, first meditation. And I thought, yeah. Oh, well, I'll go just to experience a meditation. What I didn't know was that meditations, there was 4 a day. What the first one was optional, sort of. And so 7:00 you went in the morning. So you got up at 6:15 and got showered and dressed, and then walked about 8 minutes across, and then to another place. And it was a big, beautiful, big barn, and they called it the barn, but it's not a barn. And you walk in this cross and stuff up the front, and circular seats or semicircle, and you get a seat. Well, the first thing you do wrong is walk across to your seat. So Gillian got a telling off about that. Sorry, you have to walk around. It's all about respecting. Right. And then, because this was so out of my league, I'm going to now start with the meditations. Well, I've never done one in my life, except before I left, I did a few classes, sort of, with a lady in Christchurch that's affiliated with them. So what you've got to understand is there's silence. It's a place of utter silence. And so from the minute you get up until 1:30ish, when lunch is finished, there is no talking. And then one day a week there's desert day, so there is no talking for 24 hours. So everyone laughed at me saying, oh, Caroline can't not talk. And big laugh. That was a big joke. Actually, I got a bit offended, truly did. But I thought it wasn't that bad. And then, but what it was, well, I'm really messing this up by telling you bits. I haven't gone organised. But every meal, you would sit there in silence. Well, have you ever sat there eating off stoneware with big, heavy stainless steel cutlery banging on your plate. You don't know how much you bang till you're in silence. Sitting about 2 or 3 feet away from someone there and right next to someone there, and there's a whole table room of you, and you can't talk. So there you are, banging. And so the first thing you do is you try to avoid the people's eyes across from you, and you start, and you so I'm sitting opposite someone, and you catch their eye while you're chewing, and they catch your eye, so you have a smile. Well, I mean, how many times do you smile across the table at someone and never say anything? And then the next thing, and then there's bang, bang, the cutlery's never sounded so loud on these stoneware plates. And then so you end up staring at your plate for a while. So you contemplate your food. There's nothing else to do. So you stare down at your food, at the cauliflower or whatever, and study it and try to think about it. And then you get a bit sick of that. So the third, then you catch someone's eye by accident again, and you have to have another smile, and they don't want to smile, and you don't want to smile. So then you end up staring up at some invisible spot in the sky, chewing away and looking at it, anything to avoid people's eyes, because there's nothing. So that's how hard silence is. Really, really, really hard when you're with other people. So of course, the moment you could, you just, in the end, to be honest, I just couldn't take it anymore. I would put my breakfast on a plate and go back to my room and just sit up there. That's all right, that kind of silence. But it's when you're around a whole lot of people being silent. So there you go. That's silence. And I never got used to it in a month. It was horrible. And there was a number of times when the top chief went like that. Whoops, okay, I must have talked. I didn't even know I'd talked. But anyway, it's like he's silently telling me to zip it. So it was like going to a girls' boarding school for me. I'm nearly 69, and there I am. And one morning I was too tired to go to, I didn't know how important meditations were, and I didn't go one morning. I was a bit tired. It was all the stuff that makes you tired. And where were you? And I said, I just had a morning off. And he said, no, you don't have time off meditation here. That's why you're here. Okay. He was the loveliest man, but in a split second, he could be telling you off like that. So I felt very chastened. So I never missed one after that. I was there fully. But so I'm so messing this up. So chatting about that, then that, then that, then that, but I'm too bad. So over at the meditations, you walk to your seat and you sit down, and then everything's silent. And it's like, Greenwich time is the same all around the world sort of thing. Well, at exactly on the dot of 7 a.m., which will be on the dot Greenwich time, ding, 3 dings, and that's it. You're into meditation. And then 7 till 7:30. Then you've got till 7:45 to get exercised, because you've just got out of bed and had a shower and got over there, and you haven't even hardly moved yet. So in that 15 minutes, everyone walked around, sort of just doing, it was hilarious actually, doing this and stretching, anything to sort of limber up a bit. And then finally, they all sat down in time for the next meditation. Well, I noticed in one of those limbering up times, my friend Gillian, who's an out-and-out Pentecostal, praise the Lord every 5 minutes. Praise, the Lord is wonderful and awesome. She's so full of whatever. So, and she's 75 and so thin and can still do cartwheels. So I said to her, show me. Sure enough, she can do cartwheels. Anyway, while we were doing the limbering up around the room, creaking your neck and things, I looked over and she was over there on this beautiful big mat on the floor. It's a big, big rug, and a big cream rug. And I looked over and she was doing forward and backward rolls on it. It was wonderful. And And all of a sudden, there was this, because you're silent, all the bosses and everyone running over to her. Next minute, she's off the mat quicker than you can say Jack Sprat. And I said to her afterwards, what happened? She said, oh, apparently Picasso's daughter made the mat and no one ever stands on it. And here she was. From then on, it was rolled up and against the wall. We never saw the mat again. So that was that story. But anyway, to me, that's the funniest thing out. Like, we were so ignorant, things they know. So then you'd go back and sit down, and then you guys will all know about this, but I'm not from this background. There was the Anglican type Catholic liturgies and readings and chants. I've never heard of those in my life. And next one, they're doing it all, and it's all in a minor key. Da 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 da. So then everyone says da 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 in some Latin or something. And you do that 3 times, and I had no idea what I was doing. It was so terrible for someone that's used to total freedom. I don't go to church, and I'm right. So then there was 3 of those a day, and 3 times a week the Eucharist. I've never seen anything like it. At our church, our little conservative one, it was like a quick prayer, put it down, and it was done. But it's like half an hour, quarter of an hour each side of a Eucharist, all the preparations and the whatever. Well, it was beyond. So you know how there's 5 stages of grief? Well, I figured out there was 5 stages. I wrote them down. I've got to try and find them. 5 stages of, here we go, of settling into that place. So I worked out the first day I got there, I was in so much confusion. Honestly, my head was spinning all day. It was actually, I could feel it. Then I woke up the next day with all these rules and whatever, and I felt a bit of resentment. I thought, I don't know if I like being here. I came to volunteer. They're not even giving me any work. All they're making me do is meditation, and that was not even my goal. So I got a bit resentful. And then I went into, on the 3rd day, into rebellion. I'm like, I can't stand this. I'm actually going to leave, but I can't leave. I'm stuck here. I can't leave unless I walk for a day and then find a train and go. And then, so I did that rebellion all day. Then the 4th day, man, I got so angry. I went into anger like you wouldn't believe. And I was so angry that I had to leave. I couldn't be with people. I got into my bedroom and just, I hate it. Don't worry, I told them this, so it's all right in my reviews. And then on the 5th day, I woke up in the morning and it was like, well, there's not anything you can do. There's only 3.5 weeks to go. I can do this. I'm stoic. I can do this. So I surrendered into it. And you know what? By the end of the 2nd week, I was starting to get into the rhythm. And now I look back and I go, it was just wonderful. So it had a good ending, that wee story. But it was just, I had to go through all that stuff, detoxing from this life of pray when you want to or when you feel like it. And, So that was quite interesting. Another one was there was nothing to do. They didn't give you jobs. So I'm like, well, I'm here to volunteer, and I can't stand doing nothing. So the day was that you'd have the 2 meditations, and then by then it was like 5 to 9. So you came back and there was breakfast. And then at 9:30, you went into the library, which is an enormous building. They've got like thousands of books there. Amazing library. The whole place is full of books. So you go into the library and they had a reading. And the guy that started this was St. Benedict. But then they had a book, like the Rule of St. Benedict. And every day of the year, there's a reading out of it. Well, Right. I feel that one day I might tell you about that, but it was all about written hundreds of years ago. And it's like all about, we had to study. We actually studied the fact that when there are 5 monks in a room, they had to have their beds separated, and an old monk between a young monk, and an old monk and a young monk, basically, so there'd be no goings-ons and all this stuff. And we all had to come out with, now, what spiritual thing can I come out with about that? And so, it was hilarious. It was, and remember when it started, I was probably in like resentment or something like that when I started doing it. So what am I doing reading this stuff that's hundreds of years old? So then we did this reading thing, and then we had nothing to do till lunchtime. There was nothing to do. Oh, can I do something? No, you must rest. Okay. So back to my room I went and rested, doing nothing. And then the next meditation, which takes a while, and then lunch, and then afternoon there's more rest, and then tea, dinner, supper, whatever you call it, and then bed, right, for another long night until you're up in the morning. That's how it went. So I would go past the lady in the kitchen and say, can I help you? And she'd say, oh, yeah, you can cut that garlic if you like. Okay. So then the one of the ladies came in and said, what are you doing? And I said, oh, I've got nothing to do. So you're meant to be resting. No, I'd really like to do something. I can't do nothing. No, you're resting. Go to your room. Right. Or go for a walk. Right. Okay. So anyway, just to cut that bit short, after 13 days before I left, the cook had to go away. So it was like, right, now everyone, Yanis, can you cook today? And maybe you could cook tomorrow. And no one, it was a bit chaotic. So I put my hand up and said, can I do the cooking? Just everyone get out. Just leave it to me. Oh, well, they were very grateful. So from then on, I was the happiest I've ever been in my life. Well, I did the cooking for 13 people for 11 days. And Gillian came and helped me. And wow. But the part I forgot to tell you was it got to the stage they ate noodles. They didn't eat much meat because there was lots of vegetarians, and there was just like noodles and lentils day after day after day. And the main meal is lunch, and you have the leftovers for tea. So twice a day we had noodles and lentils, and my stomach wasn't too healthy actually. Didn't really like that. So so I said to myself, oh, so it got to a point where I didn't even eat lunch. Like I just had more toast. So 3 times a day I was having toast with honey on and butter. I mean, how good's that? Because I didn't like all that. I couldn't eat the food. It wasn't good. So, and my friend was the same. So off I went. Anyway, when I got cooking, it took me 4 hours to work out a menu for 11 days. I thought, right, they're going to know what real food is. So then we went off to the supermarket with a list so long of what to buy. And the lady that took me, she worked there. Yes, let's go. So we had this little van car thing, and she and I went off to the supermarket. And do you know what it cost? I can tell you in euros. You can all work it out from that. But Canadian's very similar to New Zealand money at level. But it cost 1,600 euros for my 11 days supply. No sweat. Just no, this is what we need. So I was in heaven for the next 11 days. So did all the cooking. So it was marvellous. And I think it was like Christmas over there. There was a point, just one last thing about the food, where there was no sugar. I thought one day, I scrabbled around these 5 freezers that everyone forgot what was in it. And I found some old frozen dead bananas. So I thought, I'll make them a banana cake for dessert or something. And but there's no sugar because they don't have sugar. So I ended up buying brown sugar, white sugar, and icing sugar, or that, I don't know what you call it, a dusting sugar, whatever you call it. And when I left, the cupboards were full of sugar. But anyway, I didn't mind. But they've never eaten so many banana cakes and muffins and nice things for dessert in their life. But I thought, well, it's a oncer. So that was really fun. And then there was no chocolate. And yeah, I won't say anymore. That contribute. I ended up having to steal some. Don't tell anyone. But I went over to the other kitchen where they have now they have retreats. So that's how they sort of get their money. And so very often, every few week or two, they have a retreat. The awesome thing is, when I was there, it was Holy Week, which is Easter to me. All my born days, we've never celebrated Easter or Christmas as something special. It's just another day. So we celebrated as gifts and family and friends, but not religion at all. Well, all of a sudden, we had this 7-day thing, and they basically reenacted the 7 days of Jesus. Look, I'm probably telling you stuff that you know, but this was new to me. It was like going to the moon. And so I loved it. It was a play, really, and we all got parts and we acted out the 7 days, and it was so much fun. But they also had a retreat because, and some people, about 30 people come, and they have a whole guest house. So our job as volunteers, we got busy then. We were like getting their rooms ready and, serving them and blah, blah, blah. But they did bring in a chef and they had another kitchen. So we helped in there, and that was so much fun. But I really enjoyed that. I'd really like to get on. So part of the retreat, which I will say was reenacting, was washing feet. Well, I've never heard of this in my life. I've never heard the likes before of washing someone's feet. And so we all had to get in these circles. And I carefully picked, I thought, I don't want anyone washing my feet. They're clean. And not only that, I don't want some strange man I don't know, rubbing his hands all around my feet. And then I don't want to rub my hands around his feet. So how am I going to get out of this? I spent the whole time trying to get out of things very graciously. And so anyway, I can remember picking the lady that could wash my feet. So I carefully sat beside her. And she was a nurse that was older and lovely. And I thought, well, she's a bit motherly. I don't mind her. But the man next to me, well, I've never even washed my own husband's feet. Well, I had to wash this man's feet, and words can't express the emotions that me there in Bonvo, washing a man's feet. Like, I'm sorry, probably none of you, if I told that story in New Zealand, people would roar with laughter, but it was so out of my league that it's not funny. So on the spiritual level, I had a very interesting, I'm full of questions, and came out of this conservative religion, which is known as a cult, and now I'm like, what is the truth out there? And we've learned lots on here, but I looked around, and when you go into the meditation, people bow to the cross. Well, I said to myself, I'm not bowing to the cross. Why would I? But no, everyone else did. So I still never did, but that was probably part of rebellion. But anyway, I had to have a reason for bowing to a cross. So I'd look around, and they gave all the different people the readings. And one of them was a 29-year-old, beautiful young man from Switzerland, and he was a doctor, and he was there for months. So I went up to him one day and I said, look, I won't say his name, in case he ever looks at this. Why are you bowing to the cross? Well, are you Christian? No. Are you, what are, I said, so why are you bowing to the cross? That stands for Jesus Christ. That was died, resurrected, and saved the world type of thing. So you're bowing to that. And he said, no, I'm not bowing to that. He said, I'm bowing to something that I don't know, but it's greater than me. And that did a wee crack in my thinking. And I thought, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. And so then there's another lady there. she had the most amazing, I might tell you when I come over to see you. But anyway, she had an amazing testimony, which I'm not going to tell right now because it's a little bit outrageous and hilarious. But she's also, and I thought, this lady is a Buddhist. I can feel that. But anyway, but she's prostrate on the ground 3 times a day at the cross. And so I asked her, I said, I see that you're bowing to the cross. Are you a Christian? No. So is it all right if I ask you why you're actually bowing to the cross? And she said, yeah, well, I just have to. Why? I said, well, okay, let's start with who is God to you? Who is God? I said, okay, who's the Father? She said, oh, easy. He's the fountain of life. I thought, yeah, it sounds very Buddhist. You know, I'm still judging flat out and categorizing. I thought to myself, he sounds very Buddhist. That's quite Buddhist, but it's good. Fountain of life. Then I said, well, who's the Holy Spirit? She said, oh, that's the life that comes from the fountain. And I started to warm up by then. I thought, she's telling a truth here. And then I said, well, who's Jesus? And she said, well, he's the creation that came out of the fountain and the life. And he came from it. And he was the first one of all of us. And he's like, he came to earth and showed us his Father in the fountain and showed us everything. And we're all his brothers and sisters. And it's so wonderful. So I'm on the ground to that. And I said, are you a Buddhist? And she said, no, I'm nothing. Isn't that amazing? I'm nothing. Like, that did a thing in my head. And like, she's not anything. But she believes. So when I talk to Christians about this, and I've told this story, they, especially her background, which makes the story worse, but actually better, they all say, oh, she's not saved, sort of thing. And I said, no, what about? And I was lying in bed that night thinking about this. This lady believes in nothing but everything. And so I talked to God about it. And the whole story came to me about the people, the men that met Jesus on the road to Emmaus. They didn't even know it was him. And so what I say to people is, well, this lady doesn't know. She's met Jesus and God. But actually, she didn't see them as people. What I'm just saying is that satisfies the Christians, the religious people, when you say about the road to Emmaus thing. That, right, I don't know where I'm going with that, but actually came home after it all, so sick of everything. I want to be like that lady that doesn't believe in, I'm not categorized into anything, but I believe in fully in that. But of course, when you get home, you're surrounded. But it was me that had changed. No one else has changed because they didn't go to Bonvo. I think that's why I went. Because I came home. I can't say I'm anything now, but I believe in everything, but I'm not anything. I can't explain it, but I know that you'll know what I'm talking about. And so, but I've had a lot of trouble regrouping back here at home because everything I say now is not fitting into the categories anymore. And so I actually looked up the whole Bonvo thing yesterday, and their creed is they treat everybody as Christ. So it doesn't matter who knocks at your door, you bring them in, you give them food if that's what they need. Whatever every single human is Jesus Christ to them. And that's beautiful. But then, of course, I've had people asking questions, well, what if they're a robber or a killer, and you invite them into your house? So that's another area, and I've actually worked it out, so I won't talk about that right now. And the one thing about the chocolate was I was starting to, at night I was going a bit nuts because it was like I just want a square of chocolate, you know. So we were over in the big kitchen we for the guests, you know, that you're serving, and I spotted in the cupboard, I spotted a cake of cooking chocolate, and it's like 90% cocoa. How terrible is that? And so I actually went and stole it because they had 6 bars and they only use it for cooking, and it was all the same thing. And I thought, well, if it was in this kitchen, I could have had it, but it's in that kitchen. So in the end, it wasn't stolen at all. But I like to add that to the story because it sounds better that I stole some chocolate. Well, I went back to my room with this precious cake. I actually, are you ready for this? I put it up my sleeve to carry it back to my room like a real thief. That's what you like if you are addicted to something. You'll do anything. You'll kill someone to get what you need. And I'm like stealing and thieving this chocolate. So back to my room I went, and I learned a good trick. So every night for the rest of the time, I counted the chocolate pieces, and then I worked out I could have a square a night in a cup of hot boiling water. And that expanded the chocolate and gave me the flavour. And I put a bit of sugar in because it was like 95% cocoa. And you know what? No more did I crave chocolate. So that's the chocolate story. And me stealing, you know, it was terrible, really. So the other thing I did was I asked a lot of questions because, you know, when you're fresh out of that and you're coming into the big world and you're looking for what resonates, the only way to find out, you can observe, but is ask questions. So Bonvo is run by the head CEO or whatever they call it, head monk. He's a monk. There's not many monks left. It's quite a thing now. So he runs this particular order and lives at Bonvo, but he travels and travels a lot. So he's a lovely, wonderful man. And then the guy that works under him is actually a New Zealander, and he's a priest that they searched the world for their staff, and they found him in a retirement home in Auckland, New Zealand. So they asked him, would he like to come? He said every day he pinches himself that he's not sitting in a retirement home. He's over here running this whole thing, monastery. So you had to have about 3 times a week talks with them because, you know, you're at school. They're trying to make sure you're on the straight and narrow. So they ask specific questions. So I had the most marvelous time. And then I would ask them for more talks. And I would ask them all sorts of questions. And I learned so much about I noticed that those two in particular, they've meditated for 50 years every day, 3 times a day, right? And what is there? This is what you do. For the first, it's a 30-minute meditation. You sit down, you close your mind or whatever, and you say Maranatha. Maranatha. It's Christian meditation, which is something like come Lord Jesus, something like that. So you say Maranatha, Maranatha, and you focus on that. It's not about focusing on your breath and all that. It's focus on this word. And then they actually said it doesn't matter if you choose another word. It's not the word, but they like Maranatha. But you could say anything if you want. So they reckon for about 20 minutes it takes to rein in all your thoughts. And then you've got the last 10 minutes that hopefully you've calmed everything down and you've got the sweet spot sitting in there. And that is where God can come forth and speak. And he said that there are many, many, many Christians leaving the churches in Europe. Well, he would mean Catholic churches, so there we go. But and he said they've got nothing. They've got no God, they've got no pillar, they've got no nothing. So he said we started up these retreats to help people, and we take in volunteers to help people find a pillar for their life. So in that last 10 minutes, hopefully you've settled down. Well, I found that in that last 10 minutes, at least once a day, I went to sleep. But I didn't feel that bad because I looked around the room and you could see people's heads going, whoop. Well, you know that means they've gone to sleep. So a lot of people had a wee nap. But I actually asked this Father Peter, how many times in your life do you reach the sweet spot every single time? And he said, I've probably reached it 3 times in 50 years. Isn't that incredible? But he said, so there's nothing. So my friend Gillian said to him, so I've been asked to start one of these meditation groups when I go back to New Zealand, to Auckland. She said, so this is what I say to them. Hello, come to my meditation group and I'll teach you the way to find God. So you come along, you meditate twice a week for half an hour and you get nothing. And that's what you do. There's nothing. And you don't feel any different. You don't look any different. Nothing's different. So what is it that they're meditating for 3 times a day when nothing happens? So that's what they said. Well, nothing happens. So that was a bit of a weirdo. Anyway, I noticed that every time I asked these 2 guys that had done meditation for 45 years any questions, they were remarkable in their wisdom. The answers they would give were incredible. The wisdom that came from them. And it just went like an arrow into your heart, you know? And so one day I said to one of them, what is this? You guys are so wise. I said, you're just ordinary human beings, but you are so wise. And he said, that comes from doing nothing for 50 years. He said, you think nothing's happening. But he said, you notice that you've changed and grown and almost evolved. So I came home, and like today, before I came to do this, I said to myself, well, I'm not going to do a 30-minute meditation, but I'm going to do this. So I sat in the chair and went into meditation for a minute, but I did it differently, did it my way. I went into the Father and he and I became one. I'm in him, he's in me. So we're both together. And I sensed that feeling. And then I scooped the whole bang lot of you up and put you all in there too. And that's how they pray. They don't pray. I asked them, it was one of my thousands of questions. I said, well, you're not praying. When do you pray for people? You know, pray for the war in Iran and pray for this. And he said, well, we don't. But he said, what we do is we say a name, because they did it once a day. There was, does anyone have a prayer? Well, all they do was say a name. They might go, Sister Ruth. And then there was silence for half an hour. And they might say, Mr. Trump. And the silence for half an hour. A minute. And what were they doing? Do you know what they were doing? They were just holding him in their heart in that silent spot. So they don't pray. They just, that's the true carry someone in your heart or hold them in your heart. They hold them in their heart with themselves and God and the Trinity. Well, they did it for a minute and that was their prayer. But I just thought, I'm going to try that today with you. So I'm going to start trying that. Anyway, Amen. Stop. It's time for Caroline to stop. I went home different. I will say this. When I got home, I was different, but I didn't know what it was. And then I started getting angry. I felt anger, and that's how I found out that I was different. When somebody would say, "Oh, I met I met a new friend the other day. It was Jane or whatever, and she's a Christian." And I thought, I'm angry at her saying that. Why is that? Or, "Oh, did you hear that the Muslims or this new age lady moved out of our town? Isn't that good?" And I felt angry. And so I dissected myself for the first few weeks and worked out that I'd become non-categorizing through being there. Like, it had happened quietly. And I just can't now see anyone. So I'm getting like that lady that who is God. It's a fountain of life. The end. Like, the end. We were created from the life of the fountain. The end. I don't have to be now categorized into some group. And so I'm still learning. It's probably going to take a while to settle in, but I'm very excited by that. Very, very, very excited. And I know that a lot of you are already there, but I'm just telling you about me. And if that's all I went to Bondo for, was to come home and be changed in that area, then I can see why God would send me, because, I was pretty rigid before. So thank you. It was marvelous.
Hang on there. Caroline, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can we go on to gallery view so we can all be there? Thanks. Thanks, Kathy. You're my hero. You are my hero, really and truly. To be so, to go through so much, and I know that you're having trouble in lots of ways finding the words to express
Oh,
all
no.
the emotions. I can feel them, but to come through all that and ending up where you started, everyone in Christ, it's like you got it, and
Yeah, I did get it. I got it.
uh-huh, yeah. I think it has to be. It's probably just such an amazing thing to have that realization, because we know that the source of all is unconditional love, and it sounds to me like that month brought you into that,
Mm.
so that bias and judgment, categorizing, and that isn't where you're coming from at all.
Well, I'll be honest and say that um, nearly 30 years ago, I had a Damascus experience where I was taken into God's love. And it's been said many a time to me over the years, you'll never love anyone because you love God too much. And that's the truth. I really didn't. And it was like 15 years ago, I asked the Lord, oh, Father, I said, I don't love people, and I'm meant to. I'm supposed to love everyone, but I don't. And I'm not talking about someone that I just mean a general, like, anyway. And so I think that's what this is. I think God, I've asked him thousands of times over the last 15 years, please help me to love everyone. I don't. I just can't. And all of a sudden, since coming home, I think that's what this is about, an answer to a prayer. So, yes, we're all one and all that, and that's lovely. But more importantly is I now love everyone. Not well, of course I loved you because I felt at one with you, but I don't love that person and that person because we've got nothing in common, and all they do is complain about politics. And I'm thinking, well, I don't even want to hear about that, and so I don't love you. I don't want to be with you. But now it's different. So thank you. That's what's the changes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But that took 30 years or 30 years to get.
But yeah, I don't even question that anymore. We've had some conversations around our dinner table that you ask questions. Why didn't I know this 60 years ago or 70 or 80 years ago? But we know it now, and so now we've to come to that. It is an amazing spot, really, and I love that you shared the. Um, the this what the silence actually does when you
Ooh.
when you said that. And I don't want to take away from your beautiful talk here and your testimony, but you all know that I ran away from home for a week, spent it in Norway. But I went away by myself, purposefully. Nothing was wrong. Everything was right because I was just in the right place at the right time. I didn't speak to anyone. I didn't have anything. I didn't listen. I didn't read. I didn't do anything but stay silent. I was polite to two people who tried to start a conversation. I wasn't avoiding people, but I was enjoying the silence and no responsibility, no have tos. And I came back reset.
Mm.
And I sort of feel that I'm hearing that from your experience too. And it's very difficult to explain, but inwardly, the you're freer and your thoughts are different, and the have tos that you had put on yourself or uh, don't exist, and it could only be done in a way that you remove yourself from the whole process. And I feel like that's what you did in
Mm.
in a really, really amazing way. Hey, and you did get to volunteer as where it started.
Oh, thank goodness.
Thank-
Oh, I work late at night making muffins and things. Oh, and I'd never made bread in my life. And I suddenly realized the first day someone said, "Oh, is there any bread?" And I looked over and there was always bread there. And I thought, I think I'm meant to be making bread. So I went to the freezer and luckily they had 2 loaves. So I got those out. From then on, I went, Googled, found recipe tin eats, easy knead, no knead bread. And I was ended up making 3 loaves a day. It was so much fun.
That's so beautiful. So beautiful.
Oh yeah, I learned bread. There we go. That's the thing.
And and you come alive when you tell that.
Oh,
That's really fun.
I love it.
Really
Oh,
fun.
I'd go back. Now that I've got the hang of meditation, well, I haven't got the hang of it. I mean, I did it for 1 month. I've done it for 50 years or something. But um, I'm not going to go. I couldn't wait to get over there. But I think if I'd gone for another month, I would have got a bit more into it. So, and I do get emails from them. I hope you're still meditating at least twice a day. And I'm thinking, yeah, well. So when I did that little meditation before this class and took all of you in there, just so that I'd be at one with you. It wasn't about you. It was about me being at one with you. I didn't think you needed it. I needed it. Um, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to just go into that twice a day. It was much more interesting than trying to get to nothing. I'll get down to just God and I, and that's a place, and then bring in like someone that you want to pray for and just
Right.
hold them there. Because you imagine God's like I know this is a stupid example, but right now it's coming to me. You know how you have these acid baths and you put in this rusty old stuff and you put it in? Well, all the rust comes off and it comes out shiny and beautiful. Well, I think just resting in God, immersing into Him, has to be healing.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
think? Without even saying, I
Yeah.
need healing, just by being in there, like you're not telling the rust, the acid, oh, well, this part over here, under here needs cleaning. It just does it, all of it. Surely us sitting in God, in Father, in Spirit, in whatever you must be doing it for every part of you or the person you take in
Yeah.
there with belief and intention.
Amen.
Do
Amen.
you think?
Yeah. Personally, I think that it's like Maggie's T-shirt: "Nothing missing, nothing broken."
Mm.
Uh, and that's who we are. If it seems like something is, the veil has to be removed, or the rust has to be removed. That's all, because underneath it all, there is nothing missing, nothing
No,
broken.
there isn't.
Yeah.
But
You know
thank you.
what? I see people's hands up, and I don't want to take time chatting as much as I'm enjoying this. Um, I just don't know what to do. Kathy's hosting. Can I turn it over to you, Kathy?
Oh, sure, I can. Or if I'm happy for you to call on people, but I'm happy to
Can
do
I
that.
do that from here?
Yeah, yeah, I can take you call on them and then I'll lower their hands for them.
Okay. Well, I'm calling on Kathy because her
Yeah.
hand's up.
I remember Caroline, while you were away, you had asked anyone if they had anything they needed prayer for, and I had asked you to pray for Sammy, and and you were holding him in your heart during that time, and that I just want to say again how much I appreciate that you had done that. I can't say, right now that I saw an immediate impact because I'm just trying to refresh my memory, but I just know what it did for me to know that you were holding Sammy in that particular situation. So thank you. But I also wanted to say, like, the story you shared about the lady who said she's nothing, like that just means so much to me because lately I've been just reflecting more on people of our brothers and sisters in the world, like a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Hindu who's seeking God and who's connected with God, even within their faith, they've made a connection. Like I would never want to judge their ability to connect with God in that, but also people who've never been exposed to, traditional religion or whatever, who I believe they do. There is that connection, but I just love that, our connection with God is above religion, and that those external expressions of faith, that our relationship with God is from within, and just that we can, um, yeah, that we don't have to be anything. Like we don't have to be a religion to know Father, to know the fountain of life, and to live in that life. So thank you so much for how you expressed it. That was just really powerful for me. Thank you.
Thank you. It's powerful for me too to realize it. It was like an opening of a new part of me that hadn't been opened before.
Right. Right. It's nice to get the labels off, and so people can just be people, and you don't have to. Um, I think there's wisdom to watching what you say, to be able to express yourself in the best manner possible. But I don't think we need to live so that we're worried about how somebody's going to react. because I think when you come to that place where you've described, everyone in Christ, or no labels, that gives us such a privilege with just to love, be ourselves, and to love others. Seems much simpler than we've made it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
But that's
Gina,
the thing. I didn't love others. Now I do.
yeah,
Sorry, carry on.
that's worth the trip right there.
Yeah. Well, it's a lifelong question.
It
Well,
is.
30 years I've pleaded with God to help me to love people, and it's just never happened. And
It's
now it has. That's all. Sorry, Gina.
so beautiful. Gina, I think you're frozen.
Yeah. Oh, I'm frozen?
No, you're okay now.
Oh, okay. Um, that was amazing. Thank you, Caroline. I love you.
Love you.
You're great. Um, what an experience. It sounds like I want to just jump on a plane and go there right now. Yeah, I've done a few
Anyone
little
can.
things.
Anyone can go.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. I've done a few little things like that in my life, not on that level, but that that's really cool. And I love the I'm nothing thing because people would ask me, "Oh, what religion are you?" It's like I don't really know. I don't know what to say. I have no clue what to say. And I'm nothing. It sounds like a good answer to me. Because I don't want to identify with Christianity or Catholicism or stuff. I mean, that's where I came from. And I just thought, yeah, no, I've left all that. I'm not that. I can't say that I am. And then even saying, oh, I'm a Christ follower, seems so glib to me. It's not necessarily glib, but there's so much connotation to it all that I don't want to transmit because people have preconceived ideas of those things. And so all of a sudden, I'm putting myself under this label of their preconceived idea, and I've lost them. And I've lost myself in the conversation. And I think, oh, wow. So I'm nothing is like great to me. So thank you for bringing that up. That's my new answer. Um, and the second thing, well, and part of the I'm nothing thing is that it removes religion. It removes the rules. It removes the denominations. It removes the separation and those separating lines between humanity. It removes the delineation and the labels that we put on people, which I think is perfect because I don't think of people as that. I think of us as one, right? And so then there's in that removing of all of that stuff, for me, comes this no bias, no judgment, no, like you said, categorizing. Um, and and when I think about it in that way, of course I love because I've removed the obstacles that I put on people. So that was really freeing to me. All of that came out of that one thing you said, I'm nothing.
Yeah.
I was like writing. So, oh yeah, I get that. Oh yeah, wow, that is so cool. So I really needed to hear that. Thank you. And secondly, I love the meditation, how you explained what they did, or the prayer, maybe just bringing the situation, bringing the prayer, bringing the person, bringing the issue, um, and just having it there and holding it and doing nothing else. And I think, yeah, that in the same way I'm nothing, in that exercise of meditation or prayer, I'm getting away from directing it all,
Yeah.
getting away from controlling the answers or the solutions, having to have and process a process in that prayer. Maybe even if it's an intention, whatever. Doesn't I don't have to come with an intention because God is greater than that. And what is in me is greater than that. So I can just hold it because I'm not bringing the answer. I'm just holding myself in Him and in one and in I am and energetically moving, I don't know what, because it's not my gig. I'm just the person to hold and sit in stillness and silence and then uh, I don't have control over that thing. So great. I don't want to have control over this. That's a big fat responsibility that I think I'm taking on because why? Because I have power to fix something. So yeah, it was very beautiful to me so that I can, and I've always struggled with that in meditation and in prayer. Like I'm supposed to be doing something, I'm supposed to be getting an A in this particular process, and I have to do this and such and so, or else I failed the person, the issue, the situation, the problem. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's totally crazy. So when we learn about, our I amness, that doesn't even make sense. That's ridiculous. So it really helped me to your talk tonight helped me to bring words to all this stuff that has been in, my heart and in my idea of where I am or who I am or what I'm doing or how I'm doing it, right? So meditation now can be simple to me. I don't have to have some big fat revelation that it means some profound blah blah. Do you know what I'm saying? It can just be what it is, and I haven't failed. And it's brought an energetic something out into the electromagnetic field. Wow. Okay. I want to have part of that. I don't have to know the answer. I don't have to know how it happened. It's not my deal. So I just love that. So thank you because your sharing your thing, your experience really just got into me. Thanks. I'm so relieved.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love, we say we're doing nothing, but I think we're doing everything. I think that this last few weeks has been very intense for many reasons. And what has been exactly what Caroline has said, when you get to that place and you're holding people in that meditation, what I'm sensing in doing that, and 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 really only doing that because the petitioner supplication style of prayer isn't there. You're just holding them in a place and truly loving. And in doing that, you bring that person to love. So and I have this sense when we can do that, all the other stuff gets looked after, and I'm not directing, like Gina said, I'm not directing traffic here. All I'm doing is the part of holding, and it's like loving a baby. But that baby, when you're holding it, can do nothing for you except you love it. and it of course responds to love. But when you do that, that's all it takes to give everything you have to that person, and it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice.
Oh, yeah.
Rick and Karen works.
Well, Caroline, thank you so much for the gift of being you and being so vulnerable and bringing such a tremendous gift to me tonight. You know, I remember when you embarked on this journey, and I think we all said, we're going with you, Caroline. We're going to receive what you receive. And you brought it back to us so eloquently tonight. And I love all the things that Gina said. But I just wanted to say to you, the one that's just really singing to me right now is not categorizing people. Thank you so much for that language, because I find myself being angry just like you experienced. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm so angry and so reactive. And it's like, you put language to it. It just hurts my heart to categorize everyone, including myself. And so thank you so much for that, and for the freedom of that word. I just appreciate you so much.
You're on mute, Caroline. You can stay off mute so that you can interact with anyone who's talking.
I was just going to say, even though it was I am nothing, you know that it doesn't mean we're nothing. It means I'm no category, but it also means I'm everything. You know what I mean? I'm nothing and I'm everything, which God is. He's nothing and everything. It's a weird thing, but what do you think? Do you think that sounds okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, we're not nowhere, we're everywhere. When Gina was talking about, what comes from doing nothing, when I wrote it down, I said, I am no thing. It's the etymology of nothing, right? I am no thing. It's kind of, it's very, very powerful and very difficult conceptually, because we're so used to going for the prize, as it were, needing to be someone. Wow. Maggie, is it really hot where you are?
Oh my gosh, we are in sweltering temperatures here.
It must be terrible.
Sweltering. But Caroline, your experience has been my experience. Your experience has been all of our experience. You know, you probably don't realize how impacted your getting up and just going, has been for all of us. This is just me speaking anyway.
Free spirit.
Life here, it was always about doing, it's always about performing, it's always about, trying to be the best that you can. And I think when you went there, you realized that, people sort of telling you to just calm down. And almost like shedding all of that kind of like, I've got to do attitude, but actually you don't have to do. And it's freeing, as Gina said. And I just feel that's how the Father is. He sees us like that. We're just always trying to achieve and not realizing that we've arrived. And I think that's what, for me, that was the lesson that came out of that, and like everyone, that word about being that lady saying that she was no thing. And I think that's a great way to put it, because God doesn't like to be categorized anyway. And so you kind of spoke into my own journey right now, which is about what do I call God? How do I relate to him? Who is he? Those kind of questions that I've still got roaming around in me, and reminding me that he doesn't want to be categorized. He is no thing, but yet he is everything.
Everything.
And so are we. So that's brought some language to the way I've been, things I've been ruminating in my own kind of thoughts and feelings. So do not underestimate what happened to you, because it's just incredible. And finally, I just wanted to just capture some of the things that you said, because I thought they were quite funny, which they were, but just a great way to learn and to see how Father was directing you and teaching you, but at the same time teaching us, I think, anyway, teaching me anyway. The lady loves red. I love the fact that you love red. God led to a monastery, a place of mystery, somewhere in France, under divine circumstance.
I've never ever been to those countries, to Europe in my life. One minute I'm safe at home in tiny New Zealand.
Yeah.
Next thing I'm
incredible. And that's your heart. That's because your heart was open, and and you were saying, okay, Lord, whatever. And he did it, out of conservatism to Catholicism. As long as God said.
Yeah, but guess what? I love them now. In fact, when I left, I was saying, I'd like to do, he said, would you come back and cook for 3 months? And I said, oh, no. I said, actually, I feel from God, but, they didn't, because he's from the Benedictine order, and they're just very, very, you stay here. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're right. Yeah. You stay here and you serve all the Jesuses that come to your door. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm off out to find the Jesuses. And like when I said to him, no, I want to work. I found out I like kitchens. So I want to go around all the world. I want to go to Egypt. I want to go everywhere and work in soup kitchens. But I want to do it under the Catholic umbrella because they're very safe.
Yeah. Yeah, got it.
They're very, very warm and safe. You can trust them.
Yeah, yeah.
Care what you say, I've never known a cat.
That's important.
So he's given me a man in Christchurch that ran the soup kitchens in New York. So I went in the other day and had he's a priest. And I sat there by his bed, and every second word was shit or bloody. And we're never allowed to swear. You'll go to hell. And I said to him, I walked in and the nurse said, oh, you've got a visitor. And I said, oh, yes, I've come from Father Peter Murphy. And he said, well, who are you? Well, I thought this isn't a good start. But anyway, we started. And then when I left, he told me so much stuff. He was amazing. We connected like that, but he was as rough as guts. And I said to him, oh, are you okay? And he went, no, I've got cancer in my stomach. And he said, I shit in a bag out the side. And I thought, I'm a lady and a Christian, but I'm not a Christian now. I'm no one. And he's telling me those words that we would have gone to hell for. And every second word, and he's a holy priest. Something's crazy here. Thanks, Maggie.
Can you see Jen? She's really enjoying this.
I got a text. He said, well, come back in a month. And he said, gather up your questions. I'll help you. And anyway, I got home, and 2 hours after I left him, he sent another text, a first text. I've been thinking about it. Yeah, in the last 2 hours. Gruff as. He said, I think you better come more than monthly. He said, I found it quite interesting. So come every week or two and bring questions and let's have discussions. I thought, what a gift. I don't care if he's Catholic.
Are you going to do it, right?
I'm going. I can't wait to see him again. I'm going to ask him. I asked him about hell and all sorts last time. He gave me this thought. He doesn't think there's hell either.
Oh, no.
Anyway, carry on.
That's going to be fun times. So out of conservatism to Catholicism, as long as God said, she will be led. Our favourite storyteller, our quirky New Zealander, mesmerised by history, not daunted by mystery. She went voluntary, thrust into meditatory, zipped up in silence, a shock and a violence. Chastened, she learned patience, more meditation, with sincere hesitation, with what is it? Cartwheeling Gillian, woman in a million, on a sacred mat, subject to no chat. Prolonged Eucharists, determined to persist, she endured. She transformed the monastery with her skills culinary. She learned how to be no thing, but to believe she's everything. Chocolate thief. And to believe everyone in Christ, now non-categorized, transformed in love enjoined. Thank you.
So beautiful. Yeah, why didn't they just ask you? I could have told you all this myself. You could have written that poem, and then I wouldn't have needed to talk.
No, we needed to hear from you. Thank you for sharing. It was beautiful.
Yeah, then we can all go out for ice cream. Okay, this was good. Oh, Maggie, you will send that, won't you, please? Thank you. Well, make sure Caroline gets a copy. That's very sweet, very sweet. Hi, Plank family.
Hi there. Caroline, that's amazing. When you said you were going, I checked myself. I was like, if she can do it, then I can do it.
It's about it.
Yeah, I don't know. A month though, that was intimidating, but just the bravery and I just applaud you for just going and doing. And I also completely understand you getting there going, I don't know about meditation, but I'll do whatever they need me to do. You ought to see me visit somebody in a hospital. I'm like, I'll start the IV, please just give me something to do.
I think I was a Martha and I turned into a Mary.
Yeah, well, I could use that. So you've inspired me. So I just want to applaud you for that and tell you how much I really recognize that and resonate with that, and was right there with you, like, getting out of the car and just immediately already trying to figure out what the day's going to be. And it's nothing like you think it's going to be is not my strong suit. I was raised, if it wasn't planned, then it's not going to be good. So I'm working on it. I've got help, but I just want to thank you for the sharing and actually the practicality that I've picked up just with your stories. I had to run around and finish some things because I literally just got home before we logged on. So I was around and just absorbing the stories, and it sunk in. And so if it were only for me, your sharing would have been more than worth it.
Thank you.
Todd, I have to agree. It's kind of refreshing to have someone just be transparent and free and share from the inside out what happened. I don't know who wrote it. I just caught the message, and it says Caroline broke the 4-minute mile for all of us, and that's sort of what Todd was about, right? You did it, so all of us are benefiting. It's so good.
Well, I'll be honest and say I do feel quite proud of myself for this reason. Number one, my personality is to cling to someone that's going to look after me. So I grew up in a very, very tight group where it was so cozy and tight and the walls were so compressed, but I was safe. So then I also had a father, and still do. He's 96 and he's fitter than all of us here, just about. And he was like God. You know what I'm saying? No one would say a thing about any of us kids. He had, okay, here it is. He had plenty of money. He had lots of clout. He was high up in the church. And so I was always protected, slightly elite in that area, in a small pond. And then everything in life. And then I married my husband, who's like that. He protects me. If someone's awful to me, he writes them an email and says, don't talk to her again. He's so... Last time I said, oh, you better not do that, Mike. And he said, well, if you don't want me to protect you. And I thought, well... So then it was a few... And then I thought to myself, what if he dies? What if I'm left alone? I've never been alone, ever. I've got 4 sons who would come like that and do something for me, like Bobby would for you. And I thought, no, I'm never, ever going to be a person that can stand up on my own. And so so I started a few years ago. Don't come with me. I'm going solo to places, and I'm going to tough places. So the first 2 trips I cancelled a month before I went because I just couldn't do it. And even this one to Bonvo, for a whole month before I left, I couldn't sleep. I was an utter jelly wreck. And so that's why I'm quite proud of myself, because I'm working my way into being a normal, independent person. I've never even had to go out and earn my own money. Like Mike earns it. Like there's just, I'm like this hothouse plant. And it's like time to get out of the hothouse. I don't want to lose all of those lovely, lovely people and things, but I want to be able to do it myself as well. So that's probably why I had extreme reactions to all the stuff that happened, because I'm breaking out of some pretty big shell. Yeah. So that's the end of that story. Just gives you a bit of an insight into there's a bit of pride in what I did. So thank you, everyone.
Well, it gives us some great insight. Thank you for your transparency, because it really does add to the testimonies wonderfully. And I want to say, good for you for recognizing the 5 stages or whatever it was that you were going through, and that you were angry and you were frustrated. You went through it and called it out and named it, and didn't swallow it, right? Didn't say, because as we are learning, swallowing it is not going to help you. You did an amazing job on yourself.
Thank you. Well, in the last, I went to book my tickets to go, and my son does that. One of our sons, he's a pilot, so he does all my tickets. So my last words Mike said to me before I went to do it, my husband, he knows I'm talking about this, were, whatever you do, don't go through America. Anywhere else, but don't even go near the USA. So I went to and he's been saying it for months. So I get to my son, and he said, Mum, it's going to cost you $1,500 less, which is 3,000 euro, whatever. No, 700 whatever for Americans. Anyway, if you go through New York. I went, oh, I can't do that, because Mike's put the fear of it into me. And he said, well, what do you want? Do you want to pay $1,500 more? And I said, well, what do you think? And he said, try. He said, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Dad's like that. Oh, okay. Okay, I said, do it. Well, all the way home in the car, because it's an hour from town to here, I started to cry, get the shakes. This is just like before I went. And when I got home I couldn't wait. The next morning I said to Mike, like a mouse, I went, I'm going through New York and I'm staying there a night. And he looked at me and he said, I've got nothing to say. I warned you. Anyway, nothing happened. It was the most wonderful experience. So that was the last. After that, I said, I'm not going to be scared of anything again. That's ruining my life, being scared. I'm not going to be scared again. Thank you. Right, now I'll shut up again.
Yay. Yay. Oh, that's awesome. That's our Elizabeth.
Caroline, what a gift you are. Thank you so much. And I know you're like, oh, I can't take it, but no, you just give us such a gift of transparency, of just being vulnerable. It's just so beautiful. It's so inspiring to all of us. Like we just can see straight through you, straight into you and straight through you. And it's so inspiring. So thank you. And thank you for sharing every bit, even these last bits that have come out from people, saying their parts. It's just every piece. We all knew when you were going, we were like, she's doing this. And we're all like riding on her tailwind and we're benefiting. And you did it. You fully experienced this. Like what a breakthrough after 30 years, that prayer that you asked for, and it took you coming out of your comfort zone in such a huge way. And what really, so many things of your story touched me so much, like what other people have shared. But when you talked about the surrender, getting to the surrender, wow. And you allowed yourself to come out where it's like, and it's just deeply, deeply moving us. So thank you so much. You brought back so much for all of us. Thank you.
I am gifted more than you know by you, because when you know someone's drinking from what you're saying or feeling, you're giving me more life. When two people are feeding and drinking off each other, if you know what I mean, then both of you are filled. So I'm being filled by all of you. I can feel it. I could feel if you weren't listening. I've actually got quite a few spiritual gifts, so look out. I know things.
Oh.
Anyway, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth, for sharing all of our hearts too. Thank you. Beautiful way to do that.
I don't know how to keep my hand up, but it keeps coming down. I don't have privilege to put my video on, and I'd like to turn my video on. Do you have that ability?
I can't do it for you, babe.
Well, no, it says host has blocked it.
Try now.
Okay.
All right, there we go. There we go.
There he is, yay.
So I was listening to this, I was loving it. And you know what I love about you, Carolyn, is the first time I saw you was at that thing in Missouri, and you came in the room and you were dressed in a dress and you had a purse in your hand, and you sat on the seat that was closest to wherever, and you just sat there prim and proper with your purse in your hand between your legs. And I thought, oh my gosh, I love this girl. And as I'm thinking about why I love you, because you're telling me this story, and I'm going, this sounds like a nightmare to me to get into this. Can't talk for a month. Like, I seriously don't know if I could do something like that. But to be able to work through it, I was thinking of examples in my life where I go, there's something that you may come out of this and go, this is something that I think everyone should do. And I've said this before about things like tree planting or drinking on George Street in Newfoundland. And as I thought of that, I go, Caroline's a Newfie. She reminds me of the East Coast Canadians. And this is what draws me to you, because I've never been to New Zealand. I've been to Australia. I've met the Maoris, but I've met New Zealanders. But you are East Coast Canada, and it felt, and I just started going, wow. So that was what I was thinking. I couldn't hear the whole thing because I was out on the bay and a storm came in and I had to run in because the rain was coming, and big beautiful rainbow. But so I missed some of the end of the story. I'll watch it tomorrow. But that, I thought, what a great story, and however you work through it. Now, the one thing, so people are telling you, you go into this place and you can't talk, and they're disciplining you. You're standing on Picasso daughter's mat, and you're like, what started to make you enjoy it? And this is what I felt like when I travel. Sometimes it's like, you got to get involved, you got to start asking questions, you have to change your environment and what's going on around you. You can't have people tell you you can't talk, because to me, like, I get it, there's times when you want to meditate, and sure, go right ahead, but conversation or even noise, like, I can't, I don't think I could go a day without listening to, like, without having something on, right? Or just some noise around me. So kudos to you, and I look forward to when you come to Lake of the Woods and we can sit on the bay and watch a rainbow and sunset and fish. I'll take you fishing.
Thank you. I love it.
And he'll be talking. And Todd will have to be there because
Yeah.
It's like Talkers Anonymous or Pod Listeners Anonymous. There's got to be something here.
Silence is terrifying.
Oh. It is. It really is. And I've heard of people talk about rooms. There's rooms that you can step in, and I don't know if this is a folklore or if this is an internet meme or whatever, but where you can't stand in there for longer than, I think there's a challenge. If you can see in this room that has complete dead silence for a certain amount of time, you can win a prize. But silence is deafening, and it can be completely distracting. Your mind can do crazy things. So good for you. But I think even better is that you changed it. You started doing some baking, and that's when I had to leave. I heard you're in the kitchen or trying to get into the kitchen or something. So that's good. Very cool.
Thank you.
Oh my golly. Caroline, you've impacted all of us, and we're so grateful. Pat, are you trying to get your hand up? You're on mute. No.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know how to get on, so that's okay. But Caroline, what really, really touched me is how, in spite of all the things you were having struggles with, your heart continued to be open. And as your heart continued to be open, God brought the right people in to minister to you. And it was very touching.
Yeah.
Thank you. It can't stop. That's why we're all here, because all of us. And, I've never really believed that verse in the Bible. Jesus said, "Oh, once you know me, you'll never thirst again." Well, I'm sorry, I've never thirsted so much in my life. I just want more.
That's very good. That's very good.
Yeah. Well, I think all of us. That's why we're here.
Yeah. That's the truth. That's the truth. And the fun part is we're seeing so many facets of our collective journeys, and there isn't just one way to figure things out. It's just a blessing, absolute blessing. Wow. I don't want to leave anybody out that has a question. Thank you all for oh, Kathy, go ahead.
I was wondering how your husband is, coming back, like how he's perceived your experience and interpreted those things.
So my husband, you know what? I'm torn at even saying this because you're putting words out, but he's we had a huge upset, not him and I, in our family, about 40 years ago, and he ended up getting very slow moving, but it's pretty there, rheumatoid arthritis. So he's very it's changed him. It's changed his nature. He's not as outgoing because he's in pain, and you know what it's like when you're in pain, you can't focus on other things. So but he loves work. So he goes to work every day. It's an hour and then an hour home, works all day by sitting in a chair doing work. And then he really he hasn't got the capacity to take a whole lot more. He's fully cognizant. He's fully normal. But I find I just tell him what I have to. And we have a really good chat, and he listened to everything. I've told other people all bits of this, and he loves it. And I think in a deep down way, well, I notice that all his opinions on God are the same as mine. I think he just believes what I believe because I'm doing all the digging and he's finding it out, and he's very happy with that. But he's the most wonderful. He just is a supporter, He just supports me. Everything I do, he's there supporting. There's no rough stuff. So as long as I cook and clean and have the house nice, and do you know what? I've started sending him a menu every week now, because I noticed he loves when we go to restaurants. He loves reading the menu. He always gets the same thing, but he loves it. And so I thought, well, I'm going to give him a menu every week now. So I've been writing out all these, and I send it to him every morning on text because he goes to work early, and it's got like 6 choices, and I know which one he's going to choose. But anyway,
That's so
he says, "Oh, number 2," and then he can think about it for during the day. And so we have a really simple life, and all he ever does is he wants to just look after me. We've got quite a big property, and I'm not a gardener, so for me, because he knows I love living out here, he gets a gardener. So we have a gardener that comes for 8 hours a week, so I don't have to do it, because he just wants to look after me. That's what he is by nature. So that's what I'm saying. It's lovely. I've been looked after in a hothouse. First dad, and now that, and we've been married 45 years.
Oh.
And if I hadn't got out and started breaking out, I'll just be here forever. And the other thing is, we're still on record, aren't we? But I may live for a long time yet. And others around me may not. I may actually have to face life alone. So I need to know how to do it, practically speaking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying, don't you? I'm not just talking my dad's 96. I'm talking I might be 500.
Well, when you are having your 500th birthday, call me, because I'd really like to be there.
Right. Done. I'll think. And the last thing about, how we were talking about illuminates, and I said to you, I think that's the next race of people. Oh, I've already decided that's who we all are.
Yeah.
We're already illuminates. illuminates, or whatever you call them. I can't even say the name, but it doesn't matter.
Homoluminous.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So Eddie, go and put on your new young face, eternal youth. We're all going to be eternal youthing together.
Exactly. Exactly. I think it's a great plan. Crystal and Greg are on. Gina's on. And I can see Lorraine. You're getting younger every week.
Definitely.
Oh
Anyway,
my gosh.
that's just a bit of fun. But
It is. It is.
so yes, my husband, thank you for asking, is very good with everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I get a bit much for him. I mean, let's face it. But at the same time, he loves me like mad, and he keeps looking after me no matter what happens.
That's
He
right.
keeps.
That's right. You are blessed, and we are doubly blessed that you would take this time and just share. And I know there's more to the story. I know that we're going to go away and think, why didn't I ask her this? So you're going to say, oh, I remember. So let's keep the story going. You can interrupt any time you want with a testimony or an I remember, because we're all benefiting so beautifully. It's lovely, just lovely.
Thanks so much, everyone. I'm the one that's gained out of this so much. Thank you. I really mean it.
Well, would you like to meditate us to close this meeting? Look at that. Look at that face. I love it. What would you say? What would you say to us
Well, that's
all?
the point. No one ever said a word. So
There you go.
they've got things they say, but I don't, before they go into it.
Okay.
But basically, close your eyes lightly, sit with your back straight, and just say Maranatha, Maranatha on a breath. You might go out, 2 breaths out, 2 in, whatever. And then just focus on Maranatha, and hopefully in 20 minutes you'll get to nothing. But at that point, I start pulling people in and holding them with me. So I've deviated a bit.
Well, let's just take a minute and we'll all hold each other. And in that holding, I just want to say thank you that it's even possible. And thank you for kindness and love that is so exemplified in this room tonight. Just thank you for our hearts that have been just opened that millisecond more than it ever was, and some hearts that have been flung wide open. We just thank you. And we just bless you, Caroline. We thank you for your life. We thank you for your vulnerability, for your transparency. We thank you especially for your love to all of us, and how you are just such an amazing light. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And I just thank you for the blessings that flow through you, and the many, many, many as you meet along the way that will be just blessed by your being who you are. We thank you. Thank you. All right, team. Whew. Just looking at your faces. Bless you all. See you in 7 more sleeps.
Night, everybody.
Thank you forever. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Caroline.
Love you guys.
Bye, my Bobby friend.